So all housing markets are local. Nobody better to talk about the San Diego market than a San Diego native, George Lorimer, who is just crushing the competition here in our market. Good to have you on the show, man. Our first show, daily show.
Yeah, thanks.
Good to have you here.
Great to be here.
Our first elite realtor. And it's tough with you because a lot of the people that we're going to be having on the show cover a specific niche market. I mean, you cover all of San Diego and have for quite some time.
Yeah, specialized in, I guess, selling homes.
Yeah, there you go. So, and before we get into a lot of the numbers and things like that, we got to remember it is a home. You know,
Yes.
it's a home first. You're going to live there. You're going to build memories, and that's what's so important about real estate. And that's why it's a topic that I really enjoy. I mentioned earlier my parents live in the house I was raised in. I bought a house last year. It's just it's a cool deal. I genuinely believe it's the American dream, even though that's not why we named the show the American Dream. It is. I think there's a big piece of the American Dream that has to do with homeownership.
I agree.
So let's talk about it. Whether you own a home and you're curious about what's going on in the housing market, or you don't own a home and maybe you want to get in the game, everybody watching right now has a vested interest in the information you can provide us. So 2015, we finished the year up. Where did we leave off?
So we had a price appreciation. The median price went up to $520,000 for a detached house here. So up 7.2%, Craig. So a year ago it would have been $485,000. And so it's fairly affordable for a lot of folks. The average price was up about 2.3%. And in terms of the number of sales, it was pretty average, and I think things are poised to be maybe a flat to a 5% gain in 2016.
Don't you think that's a win, though?
Yeah,
I mean, if you go too much higher than that, it just feels a little bit bubbly, right?
Yes.
Like you're overheating.
I agree.
Nobody wants real estate to go down in value.
Right.
You just use the word affordability. One of the things that's really important to understand if you're a renter is that we got to live somewhere, right? The question is, are you going to pay your own mortgage and build your own equity, or are you going to pay your landlord's mortgage and let him get the tax advantages and equity growth? So there's just so many opportunities with rising rent prices. It's something to explore. Doesn't mean it's right for everybody. But going into this year, 2016, we still have low rates. Sounds like we still have low inventory. How are we starting off the year?
So that's what I would say. I'd say, you know, don't try to time things, Craig, because you really can't. If it's the right time for you to buy or sell, you know, prices we're right about now the same price we were at the height of the market in many areas. And so I'll give you a quick example. In my neighborhood, I sold one and they had bought it 10 years ago for $852,000. And coincidentally, we sold it a couple months ago for $852,000.
No kidding.
And here's the thing.
That's a unique story.
It is, it is. And they had bought new construction, so they added on the landscaping above that. And then, of course, when you sell, there's certain costs. So they're still at a bit of a loss selling it, but the actual price is right about where it was 10 years ago.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, and it depends on your market. I talked to some other people where they're still underneath what the height of the market was in 2006 and 2007, and some have a lot of appreciation from that point.
Low inventory seems to be something that we've talked about for a long time now, where I almost don't even feel like you should call it low inventory because it's just, it's the norm.
Normal.
But it is a seller's market still.
Yes.
They say based upon the number of homes that are on the marketplace. If you're a buyer, give us some advice when you're out there, you're making offers, you're trying to get the offers accepted. How do you get that home that's off the market? How do you beat out other buyers? How do you get in the game?
You know, so that's really the challenge. As a home buyer, it's so competitive, and you're competing against people that are all cash. And a lot of people get, you know, they hit the wall so many times, they maybe lose out on multiple offers. So, Craig, we have a way to beat other buyers to properties prior to them hitting the market. So getting priority access to proprietary listings. So what we do is we market the heck. I've been doing it 20 plus years. I'm from here.
One of the best marketers in the business.
Thank you.
I've always said that about you.
Thank you. And you know, I went to college here, grew up here, everything. So I've been here a long time, and I've been in the business a long time. So we do a lot of mailers. We reach out. We do demographics with people. So we get a lot of inquiries prior to them hitting the market. And so a lot of our customers that work with us, they can get priority access to those properties. And really, we'll get a seller that wants to sell but doesn't necessarily want to have the inconvenience of having it on the market, and those go directly to the folks that we're working with.
Makes sense. So there's, you can kind of get the inside knowledge there.
Exactly, yeah.
It just seems like it'd be very challenging, you know, in the traditional sense when we think about real estate when we were growing up or how our parents bought real estate. You go to the open house, you talk it through, you look at some different homes. In San Diego, it's so nuts where it's like sometimes, and in the past you couldn't even look at the house. So now you've got to be really creative. You've also got to be really creative on how you present your offer in the contract. So give us some advice there.
Okay, well, that's a great point. So we've been doing some things, they call it a love letter from the buyers to the sellers.
Yeah.
Because, people are looking at pricing, but they also want a nice family or nice people to own their house. So they don't want the type of person that walks in and says, hey, Craig, your house is okay, but I'm going to have to do X, Y, and Z. And you're just bashing a house that they lived in 20 years that they put their blood and sweat into. So that doesn't work. So the alternative is to say, when you present it, hey, we really love it. We love the neighborhood. We love the park. We love what you've remodeled it. Our budget allows this. Please consider it. We're open to a response from you. So maybe the first step is a love letter from the buyer to the seller. We've seen it done with videos as well and songs.
That's great. It's a really good point.
Yeah.
I don't know. You'll notice that nothing with our show has teleprompters or scripts. It's all very authentic conversation. And I've somehow managed to reference the house my parents live in. Now this is the third time. Mom and Dad, I don't know why I've brought you into the show and put you out there like that. But to this point, it's a perfect illustration of my dad did the landscaping with his bare hands. He added that extra bedroom. He built the train room downstairs. And my mom did a lot of stuff too. If you were just a cash buyer coming in there and you're going to wreck the walls and flip it, or you were someone who has served in the U.S. military, who's a hero to our country, and you wanted to start your family's life there, some of our next door neighbors are still there.
Right.
So if my parents are selling that house they've been in for 40-something years, they're going to take the offer on the military family, the first-time home buyer, versus the cash buyer that is coming to wreck the house. So the love letter is a brilliant strategy, and then when you mix in videos and you're pulling at the heartstrings, I think it's a great way to go after it.
It absolutely is. And we had talked a little bit about some of the things as a home buyer. The other thing that people are really concerned with is when they do the offer on writing the contract, and it's very competitive in multiple offers, they want to make sure they're not paying too much, Craig, and that they get their deposit refunded if it doesn't work out to the inspection.
Yep.
So the way our contracts are done, that we do them, is it's always subject to the appraisal. So the buyer gets out if it doesn't appraise at value, they get their deposit refunded. Similarly, the way the contracts
So you mitigate the risk.
Exactly, mitigating the risk for the buyer. Similarly, property, the easy way of saying it, are sold in as-is condition, but legally that's not a great term. So we say they're sold in the current physical condition, subject to the inspection. So what that means to the buyer is, hey, you're taking it in the current condition. However, you can inspect it, and if it doesn't come back to your proper inspection, you can cancel and get your deposit refunded.
Interesting.
So, because that's what people don't want to lose their money.
So a good takeaway from today is there's certain ways to go about a low inventory market, getting your offers accepted. There's ways to be aggressive, but there's also things that you can put in contractually that mitigate the risk so you don't make a mistake. I think the appraisal is a big one. If you maybe over-offer a little bit because you just really want this home, but you don't want to make a stupid investment.
Exactly.
The appraisal might save you, just in case the comps don't work out.
And if it is low appraisal, here's the other side of it. Sometimes you can lower the amount and pay the difference on the appraisal, because at the end of the day, if you feel it's worth it and there's no other homes in that neighborhood that you like for that price, you may want to pay the difference of what the appraised value is and what the contract price is. Sometimes
Gives
people
you that
don't
option.
sometimes people don't have the extra money, but you and I both know great lenders that can structure the transaction so they'll put down a little bit less down payment. They'll fill in that gap with their down payment for the difference between the appraisal and the purchase price.
So we've talked a lot about real estate. You give some great advice here. Give us a good example of a property that you have so people can know if they want to get in the game, something that's out there.
Absolutely. So this one's in Poway here. Beautiful one. You can take a look. She's remodeled everything on it. It backs up to an open space. There's no homeowner's fee, no Melrose. It's $575,000. So it's right within about our median to average price. And it's an award-winning Poway Unified School District. 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, hardwood floors, granite kitchen. She spent a ton of money remodeling the stainless steel kitchen here.
So a nice home. When you say $575,000, the big takeaway I want to give to our audience here today is that is probably going to equate to what you pay in rent. If you designed a mortgage plan, we've got a great mortgage team that you can connect with if you reach out to us online. that is going to be very similar to what you would pay for rent in San Diego. So good food for thought. So there's the price of the property, and then there's that cost. The mortgage, low interest rates, and it's really low rates that have fueled that.
Right.
George Lorimer, thank you for helping us kick off our daily show here of the American Dream and giving us a good update on the real estate market.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to answer our email of the day.